And also, this is an example of him getting involved and doing things even though he lacked formal training. So, he knew what things should sound like. He was smart. He could go out and learn things. And it didn't stop him from designing studios. And a lot of these studios are all still used today, unchanged and just kind of considered gold standard in studios. And well, that brings us, again, very rapidly through a lot of history up to when we started in 1999, 2000. And you can see we've done a lot of stuff since then. From the very start, we wanted to emulate hardware, and we didn't just want to, we wanted to be the best, and I was at Stanford completing my PhD, and I had this idea, let's start this company. The world needs, there's this analog equipment that's not available out there. There's all this great digital workflow going on that is lacking the character and warmth of analog. We really need, there's an opportunity. It sounded like a lot of fun. I said, let me take a year off of my PhD program, start a company, and then it'll get rolling. Everything will be just perfect and easy. And after that first year, and I'll be able to go back to school. And it hasn't happened. But I think I've learned, a lot of other lessons. In terms of talking about emulation, people always want to know about the technical approach, what we do, how we do it. But even before it gets technical, it's really more kind of forensic detective work. What is this unit? How is it used? What made it special? Were there any kind of odd, well, like at the 1176, everyone knows the 4-button trick. There's a lot of that lore on different units. This was used this way in an unconventional manner. We really like the clipping here. And so we'd really have to go and kind of understand that whole context of the unit. Who has the golden units? What are some great recorded examples? How is it used artistically? Because again, that's really what it's all about. And then once we really understand that and have some great units that have listened to them, recorded some stuff, really start to understand it, then we get into what's under the hood. And like I said, I came from Stanford. I was very lucky to be in a group there called Karma that has a great history in synthesis, and the history of synthesis all the way back to FM synthesis. When I was there, the focus was physical modeling of musical acoustics towards the goal of making synthesizers and synthesis techniques. And I really embraced the physical modeling, but I was always thinking about let's physically model compressors and equalizers and all the great things from the history of recording. So that, I think that the fact that I was in this environment that was very focused on physical modeling really channeled the direction that we went, and how that's really the approach we take. Also, I've been lucky enough to be able to continue to work with a bunch of the grad students that I was there with who actually graduated and now have a doctor in front of their names, and have come to work with me to do the emulations at Universal Audio. And then another question I get is, how is what we do different? And I think there's just a lot of different answers for that. But first and foremost, we all, the customer, our customer, and the people we connect with are the ones who care about the quality that we put into it and the lengths that we go to, and the fact that we're not taking shortcuts when it comes to emulations, and we'll work on it till we feel it's right. And again, we have a kind of an internal culture and a DNA. It's like we just want to get it right. If there's something that's important, if there's a way someone was using this gear on this album and had this characteristic, you better nail that in the exact same way. Kind of the gold standard that we have across the board is our emulation is only done when when you do A/B testing. You do A/B testing in two old pieces of gear. It's going to be different. So we consider it done when we're within the unit-to-unit variation. So you can't tell the difference between a group of different units. And again, that is sometimes at the expense of computation. And that's one of the motivations behind us pursuing the UAD line, first the UAD1 and now the UAD2, and the solo, duo, and quad versions there, is now we have a palette, we have a platform where we can use computational power to do some of these things that other people aren't doing. And it's a great team, and a team that has fun, which is really the key component. And again, that's what I saw my dad working on speakers, and that's actually where I first cut my teeth on a real development, a real development project. It was actually in my front yard. He brought in a trailer. He brought in scissor lifts to bring to put speakers up in the air to do free space measurements. And again, it's like nothing got in his way. It's like he wanted to work in speakers. He didn't have a lab. Trailer, 40-foot trailer moves in, and getting that back out was that's a whole other story. 20 years later after the trees moved in. But the trailer comes in, the scissor lift goes up. He's hauling speakers in the air, doing test tones, annoying the neighbors. And that's how I got to spend a summer. And that's where I got hooked on audio. Before that, it was really radio, and that was really the switch. So with that, I'll turn it over, and if anybody has questions, I'll be around after, and we'll have an opportunity for some Q&A a little bit later. So thank you.